Hey, another draftphysics.com video presentation. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about Newton's third law, and I'll just make some arguments that I have made in the past. I'll try to make them in a new and improved manner, or at least in a different manner that might make you say, "Oh, that's sort of a good argument." But we'll see. Is there any point in talking to some of you? Because you're impervious, really, to reasoning. You're just religious kooks, frankly. That's all that can be said. You have faith in this dogma, this version of reality. And you're just so resistant to hearing any other story. Especially if you're hearing it from somebody who doesn't have the right kind of Pope hat. If they're not wearing the right hat, well, then you won't take it seriously. I mean, you really are just as big a joke, as religious buffoons, in terms of your behavior. And it's probably worse in the sense that you don't have any sensible ethics. I mean, I have adversaries who call who name a channel Bad Ethics, and they're the ones that have no ethical standards, no sense of proportion or fairness or decency at all. And it's displayed in the comment. The comments have suspended in the sense that there is no new crap, but it just started to get to be complete crap. I mean, doxing my home address, for what purpose? All kinds of invasions into personal issues. And this is defenders of science. This is what they have to resort to. So instead of just making a scientific argument, instead of just linking me to, the images of the round Earth, the one of the millions of satellite images proving their physics correct, they can't do any of that. And so they have to resort to personal harassments, in defense of what? Something they can't demonstrate with evidence. I mean, it's just so funny. And they just believe. And, and they think they're intelligent. This is what intelligent people do. And AB science is just part of it. He plays along with the crappy ethics and pretends to be above it all, but when he encourages it, frankly. And, this why don't you just evade the simple questions asked? Don't bother trying to explain why you do something or why you say something that isn't right. Okay, so anyway, this guy, Bruce Yeany, I think it's the same guy who did the clip I showed of the wooden blocks, which was helpful. Not that he was helping on purpose, is the point, though. So he has this video on Newton's third law, and it says right in the description something that just really isn't true, okay? So, I mean, the argument can be made that it doesn't work that way. Okay, so it says Newton's third law explains, I don't know, does it do that? Does it explain? That for every force applied, there is a second force that is equal in magnitude applied in the opposite direction. Now, as I've attempted to explain, is that these objects, when they hit each other, are just transferring what they have, like a disease. They have a disease, a condition. And when they hit something else, they transfer their condition. That is, they sneeze it onto them, and now it's gone. They've lost the condition, and the thing they sneezed it on now has the condition. And that's really all you're doing, is transferring a state, a condition, a vibration, whatever you want to call it. Just know it is a thing you're just transferring. There is no equal and opposite. The fact is you aren't, you're not made rich, and there isn't some opposite reaction. You lose your money. The opposite reaction is, something doesn't have to make you poor. If you give away your money, you don't have your money anymore. Your poverty is automatic. There's no other force doing it. There's no other reaction even doing it. The action was you gave away something you had. By giving it away, you don't have it anymore. So you change because you gave away what made you different. So there's no opposite force making you different. The same action, you giving it away, has now changed you. All right, now that to me is the more accurate way to describe the circumstance. That's all. It's just more accurate. I mean, yes, it's a little bit about just semantics, whether you can use this word force or not, because there certainly isn't a second force. And you just understand that if you have the force, you have magic powers, you give the magic powers away, there wasn't some second action that took away your power. The action of giving them away just took away your power. And this can really be illustrated in, when you isolate systems in space and, think about rocket engines and such. It just makes it so kind of clear that all the rocket's doing is giving away a pace of its motion to the environment, and by giving it away, it changes its motion. I mean, because it doesn't have to go this way anymore. It gave this way away, and it still has this way. Well, obviously it's going to go this way because it gave away the balance, the thing that would have balanced it. It gave away whatever balance it had. Whatever condition it had, it gave away a piece of the condition, therefore its condition changes. I mean, that's a simple argument to make. There won't be any rational counter argument to why that's a crazy way to see it or to view it, because all of the mechanical systems, you can follow it. All right, so we'll play some of this, and I'll just point out how there's like obvious things you can see where you say, wait a minute, what about? So I'm going to pick on this guy just because I did, ask him to participate in resolving this subject. So this is an ex-teacher, probably high school or something, for 30 years or whatever, 20 years. I think he had some knee problems or something, so he's retired. Probably on a nice big fat $150,000 pension, but regardless, this needs to be done by somebody, a professor, somebody with some kind of qualification, so there's no doubt about the fact that they understand the context of things and do the experiments that'll really illustrate something. They always parse it. They always do their momentum experiments separate from their kinetic energy experiments because they really can't make sense out of both theories. They can't combine them because it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. All right. So it has the classic little gimmicks. Yes, that's really cool. Invisible ink.
Hello, my name is Bruce Yeany, and today I'd like to take a quick look at Newton's third law.
Crappy audio, I have to say, but whatever.
Newton's third law tells us that if we apply a force in one direction, there's an equal force applied in the opposite direction.
So it's just not, again, translating from Latin, I don't know if that's exactly right. I mean, nobody seems to, there's all different translations of what exactly he's saying. What he's saying is it's an action and then there's a reaction, which is also just as bad. Again, if I'm holding a weight and I drop it, I let go of the weight, there's no opposite reaction. I got rid of something. It's not that there's no need for an opposite reaction.
By the object that we're pushing against. So it shouldn't be too hard to understand. If I have a scale, for me to use the scale properly, I apply a force on one side. There has to be something that I'm pushing against on the opposite side. For example, if I put this down on the table, I push down on the scale. The table underneath it is actually pushing up against the bottom of this.
Right, but it's certainly not equal. So this is the part that's kind of, if you understand, the scale has a spring in it. So what's happening when you're pushing down on the scale, especially that kind of scale? What's happening? Well, you're storing energy in the scale. So some of your energy, obviously, there's not going to be an equal and opposite reaction because you've taken energy and you stored it in the spring. You didn't store it in the earth. It didn't get to the earth. It's in the spring.
Scale, and that's why I'm able to get a reading. If I push down harder, the table resists that and it pushes up harder. And so if you push down harder, the table's still saying it's not feeling all the pressure
because the spring is absorbing some of the pressure to compress. So by the spring compressing, you can understand if you're pushing on something and there's a spring on it, it doesn't feel like it's as much pressure as long as the spring is compressing. As soon as the spring stops compressing, that's when you feel the real brick wall. You don't really feel the brick wall until you've compressed the spring. So some portion of the energy isn't even getting to the other side.
So I still have an equal amount of force going down and an equal amount of force going up.
So it can't be equal because you changed the spring. So that's all I'm saying. I mean, obviously it can't be an equal amount of force because something compressed the spring. So some force had to be used up, causing the spring to compress.
Whatever force I apply against the object is then pushed back with the same amount in the opposite direction.
All right, so there's no pushing back in the opposite direction. So there's only two choices. I guess I'll draw. And there's not much. I'm not gonna. There's just no point in. There's no point in saying. It's just so simple an argument. Okay, so the idea is that all you're trying to do is follow the motion, and all there is there's competing vectors. Okay, in the sense that you have some portion, and it just means that all you need is a portion. Okay, of a movement in an opposite direction to something else. And those are what we call interactions. There can't be an interaction if you're both going the same way, then this thing's not going to catch this thing, and there can't be any opposite. So there has to be some component where one thing has a little bit more of this, and this one has, more of this, and therefore there's going to be an interaction because there's some capacity for them to interact, to collide, to exchange, to transfer their condition, to sneeze on each other. So as I've pointed out before, the simple example was, but let's go with a Professor Lewin. Well, here's a rocket, right? So there's two parts to the rocket, right? There's this whole subject about what its fuel is doing, so it's compressed tank of fuel. And then there's the issue, what's the rocket actually made of and what's the rocket actually doing? So the rocket, its mass, is one part of the system, is the mass of the rocket. This layer, okay, of rocket steel and all the stuff that keeps the rocket together. And its velocity is dictated by all these previous conditions. So it has a certain vector that it's moving in based on what happened to it previously. What kind of interactions did it have with the universe? What kind of stuff happened where its disposition, its motion was changed? And one of the ways you could illustrate that is when they do experiments. Probably should have. I did look for the Professor Lewin link. I mean, it's in, I can't remember what video it's in. Unfortunately, they're not perfectly labeled. But anyway, you can have a spring between two objects on a frictionless surface, and you push one object. You push this one, all right, and there's a whole series of actions that happen, in terms of harmonic motion will take place. And the fact is that these two cars will move. This one will go into the spring, then this one will feel the compression of the spring after a little time delay, and now this car will stop moving. And this car will move. And then this car will stop moving when it expands the spring, and then this car will move again. So they'll be doing this inchworming thing, but this center will just glide at a constant rate. So the center will just glide at a constant rate while the two cars are stopping and starting. Okay. And you could sort of understand that's sort of what the atoms inside the spaceship are doing. The atoms inside the spaceship have a disposition where they're harmonically banging into each other. Okay, they're doing this. You move, then I create, I affect your electrons. Now your electrons force you to move, and it just keeps cycling. Okay, they keep pushing each other along. And if you did take that system, there would be a center to that system, and the center of that system is just gliding in a direction. So that's what the spaceship has. And that harmonic motion can be changed just by adding some new impulse, some new piece of energy. Okay, either starting when it stops, it stopped and now you're going to hit it in a new direction. Well, then that will, be combined into the system, and then it'll get a new motion and you'll have a new vector of direction. The new vector could be something like this because you added energy this way. And so the spaceship will change based on that. And that's how all the mass has already got that motion. And now when it shoots an exhaust, what's it doing? Well, it's really just giving away motion in one direction, which means it's giving away the energy going this way. Okay, and so, no, it's giving away this way, of course. So you open this side, and if you understood the energy is just kind of rhythmically going back and forth inside of here. It's doing this harmonic motion thing inside. And now you're just giving away the impulse this way. Some of the spring's energy going this way, you give that away. You let it keep going out the hole. All right, so you gave away this action. And now the actions you have going this way are now obviously stronger because there's nothing compensating. There's nothing pushing them back the other way. So you now have a net extra amount of this because you gave away the thing that was keeping you from being, if you were going 10 miles an hour, you gave away stuff that was keeping you from going 20. The stuff keeping you from going 20 is the stuff going this way. So the stuff inside of you that's going the wrong way, that's the stuff. Like if you had 20 little things inside of you bouncing, and 10 of and 15 of them were going this way, and 5 of them were going this way. Well, you can understand that you're going to tend to go in this direction because there's 15 going one way and only 5 going the other way, so the balance is that way. But if you gave away that 5, if you gave away that 5 advantage, you let 5 of these go in that direction. Well, I did it the wrong way, right? I should have had 15 going this way and 5 going that way. Well, anyway, you let go of those 5, well, now you're going to have a balance. Now you're going to just stop moving, but you'll have 10 on each side. You'll have 10 going each way. So whether you're decelerating or accelerating, adding or subtracting, it just doesn't matter, because all there is your momentum, your velocity, your energy. It's all made out of matter moving. So all you can do is give away that movement. All you can do is give that direction away. Now, it will be in the form of a force, in the sense that there's little bits that are pushing the matter, as I've stated, and now you're just basically saying the little bits will now be pushing this out of the spaceship, and it's never bouncing back. And because you gave it away, you're going to go this way, because you gave away what you had. So there's no equal and opposite reaction. There's just the action of giving away what's maintaining your particular balance. So whatever your balance is, 20 miles an hour in that way, whatever your condition is, you're giving away pieces of the thing that made your condition. You're giving away parts of the cause to your effect. And when you gave away parts to the things that were causing the effect of your condition, obviously your condition changed. But there was no opposite reaction that causes your condition to change. Yeah, it's probably, that's the simpler way to say it, I suppose. Anyway, I'm just saying that, what's the rational argument that that's the truth? Okay, the truth is there's not two forces. The truth is there is no reaction. There's just the action of giving away your condition. You gave away your condition, you don't have any more. The bowling ball hits the pin. The ball gave away its momentum. There's no opposite reaction. There's just the action of, I gave you my momentum. You move, I slow down. There's no equal and opposite reaction. Okay. Yeah, simple enough. It only looks like it. Seems like. But it isn't is-like. The is-like isn't that much more complicated. That you're just giving away something. And by giving it away, you don't have it anymore that looks like, an opposite reaction. But you can understand, no, there's no opposite reaction. you give away your blueness, you have more redness. That kind of, just simple enough point. We'll just leave it there. All right. So anyway, so till the next time and such. I mean, the rest of the examples are all, every single one of them can be understood as you're just exchanging with something else. And that's all that happens. Whatever its condition is, it sneezes on you, you sneeze on it, blah, 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 blah. And so there's no equal and opposite reaction. There's just giving things a condition. There's just giving away what you have. Frankly, it's all you need to know. Yeah. All right. So, enough of a video. We'll keep it short because there really is no news, and I really don't want to change subjects. So, yeah, we'll just leave it there. Yeah, I could go to my comments. There's just some really dumb comments, but there's no point in even bothering with. They're so bad and dumb and stupid and moronic. So, some idiot who claims he can't post with his other account, so he posts 7 comments, is it? 7. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, just crazy bullshit. And what's this? For the armchair psychologist at 17:30, Gary puts on some digital makeup, quickly realizes that he's done, and tries to play it off that he was drawing his smile. What are you even talking about? Yes, so what? What does that have to do with the video at all? I just demonstrated that, I do have this tool that doesn't work very perfectly, frankly. Where I can, I can do this. Oh, didn't work. This? No, that didn't work either. I know I could do it. Yeah, that is strange. I thought that was the right key. Maybe it's this button, frankly. Let's just see. No, that didn't work. That certainly didn't work. I know it's not. Yeah, it's supposed to be there, I think. What am I doing wrong? Let me think. Okay, I do that, didn't work. I do that, didn't work. Do that, didn't work. Oh, there it is. So you can see them. They're there. They're actually there. See, that's the problem with them. They don't show up there. You can barely see them on the background there. So they only show up on some programs. So yeah, so just the line drawing isn't very useful because you can't see it. I think you could see it over this image. Yeah, there it is. So I was drawing lines. See, so that's why it's only useful for certain places because obviously it doesn't do it very consistently. So that's a big deal to you, you retard. The fact that I did that in a video. So that comment is just so fucking inanely stupid and irrelevant. You actually put a time code? What the fuck? And I'm supposed to say what about your contribution here? That somehow you're useful? No, you're an idiot. You're probably been diagnosed as something, right? You got some real psycho problems. Starting a comment with and I'm not Begugagraphs, no, whatever that is. That's another lie made in an attempt to discredit those who dispute your physics nonsense. What the fuck are you talking about? Insane, just literally insane lunatics on the internet. It's just sad that we have to have all this noise made. The reply that wasn't allowed to post: a pendulum does not fall at a constant acceleration. So this is a known fact. Okay, so some other idiot was arguing about how it takes it's something. If I throw something twice as far in gravity, 4 times higher, they're saying it takes it twice as long, and it doesn't. 4 times as long. Pendulum swing. Okay, so if a pendulum swings this wide, that means it's going this high in gravity. All right, it does it in the same amount of time as it swings this high, a little tiny bit. So it's completely consistent. The time is the same. Pendulums swing with the same period. So the same length of pendulum will swing with exactly the same period from any height. It'll be the same period. Within, there are changes that take place when you go to extremes. Anyway, so it's just wrong. And then he uses the word obviously when, no, you're obviously wrong. Okay, so it's just, you're not making any argument here. You won't produce any evidence of your theory that you can change the period of the pendulum, but you can't. Acceleration means by definition a rate of change of velocity. Well, duh. But what does that have to do about the amount of time it takes? The other asshole was arguing that it takes the thing going higher in gravity twice as long to go up and then back down again. When no, it takes it just as long as it takes to throw the weaker argument. The slower object takes just as long to do this little bit as it takes the other object to go the longer bit. Same amount of time. So you're just wrong and retarded and insane. Second reply I couldn't post. Gravitational force is a constant acceleration. You already said that. Meaning it's a constant rate of change of speed. You can keep saying this crap that doesn't mean anything. Your velocity and your acceleration are two different things. The acceleration is constant, the velocity is not. Okay, figuring out that it takes twice as long for the ball going twice the speed to stop is not very hard math to do. Well, it doesn't matter. There's no such math that does that. In physics anyway, so you're just full of shit, okay? There's no physical evidence of your theory. It doesn't happen in the reality, so you're wrong, stupid, crazy, foolish. You either know this and are being dishonest, so more claims you can't back up with anything, no evidence, just accusations, and I'm supposed to say what to you, you little lying putz? I mean, you're really this insane. You go on somebody's video and call them a liar and think they have some obligation to pay much attention to you? I'm me. I know what I am. Okay, so when you have a theory that I already know isn't right, okay, that I have like 15 toes or something, and you're asserting it as if you're an authority and you have evidence, that's obnoxious, asshole. That's rude, okay? So, fuck you. I have no obligation when I know what you just said is a lie. Alright. You obviously don't have any evidence that I have 15 toes. You don't have any evidence that I've been ever dishonest in any of these videos about any subject ever. And I know. Because I made the videos. I know I haven't done that. So, for you to imply it is automatically crap. Absolute fucking unevidenced lying crap. So why should you be given any benefit of the doubt anymore? You're overtly lying. I know it. I have the evidence. I witnessed the crime. I saw you go into the store, bash the guy over the head, steal the cash register money. I saw you do it. There's no doubt about it. I don't have to worry about a trial. I don't have to worry about what a judge says. I don't have to worry about what a jury says. I saw you fucking do it. All right? So I already know you have no character. I already know you're a liar on the internet. Because you're lying about things I know. Okay, so fuck you. You're not doing that here. Alright, the reply that wasn't allowed to post. So again, this allowed to post crap isn't always the person's fault, shithead. You should be able to figure that out by now. That YouTube has made it difficult to comment. Okay, for whatever reason. Trolls can do it all they want, but yes, if you want to make a civil comment to somebody, you have no chance of knowing for sure that they'll ever see it. Alright, a pendulum doesn't fall at a constant acceleration. Well, it clearly does at a constant acceleration, so goodbye to you, that's retarded. I mean, let's look, it goes on and on. For everyone's info, my Rashahan account, everybody's terribly interested, I'm sure. So we'll just forget right there that this guy just clearly has a really bizarre notion of his own self-importance that everybody knows his whatever account. You're a retard. A substantially retarded retard. Okay, for everyone's info. So he did the same crap, right? So we'll just get rid of that. So anyway, we'll just say goodbye for good. So bye. Yeah, we're done. Ugh, pathetic. All right, so this was the other guy who was making the assertion about it taking twice as long, and I explained it, and he was very rude, but I still explained it, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why it's doing this read more thing in the top of the comment. I mean, just YouTube is just such a shithole. I mean, jeez. They have all these great technology people, all these high IQ people. They figure out how to do this. Let's put a big blob of space, and then we'll put read more way over here. Yeah, that's good. Good idea. All right, anyway. So that now is enough of a video. But that's the kind of crap there is. There's no evidence of anything, no reasoning, no logic, no counter arguments, no answering the questions, no dealing with any of the paradoxes, no explaining why the history is wonderful. You know, that the Leibniz reasoning for creating this fake energy notion was because Newton's physics wasn't religious enough. There wasn't a role for God to play. Yeah. And you're defending that. You'll realize that, right? You're defending something that has just a horrible history. So after Leibniz's silly religious reason, you have clay experiments, where you think clay is much better than springs at collecting or storing energy. Do you really think so? How far something goes in clay is a real measure of its real energy. Are you going to defend that as good physics? Is that really what you're going to do? You're going to defend measuring how far something penetrates clay as the way of knowing the truth. And as I've pointed out, if we just change the clay into cornstarch, we'll get exactly an opposite equation. We'll get 1/2 Vm squared. That will be the kinetic energy formula. You do realize that all I do is change the substance you're using to measure the energy, and I create a completely different universe, working by completely different mechanics. And you think that's good science. That's what you're defending. Aggressively defending. I mean, so desperately defending that you have to slander me, attack me personally, attack the people who live where I live, go to all this trouble to stop me because I'm arguing that's really stupid. Yeah. God, humans suck. Again, they just keep proving it, right? So that's the only thing that's really good about this horrible crap is they keep proving my other philosophical arguments about the nature of the human bug and what a piece of suck it is. Yeah. They just keep proving it. So, till the next time and such and so forth and whatnot. This has been a DraftPhysics.com video presentation.